Yeah, I was going to ask you guys before we started, what did you think of the? I mean, listen, it doesn't take much to fire me up, but Aaron Glenn had me ready to run through a brick wall today.
It feels real, you know? It feels authentic. It feels right. That's how it felt. I wasn't sure how to feel about Aaron Glenn. Going into it feels right. It's like you start dating a girl, and you're like, man, this could be the one. Really early though.
I really hope that's the case, to be honest with you. The size disparagement between them is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, that was weird. And then it's like the Adam Gase, like you get on a blind date with a girl, and she's like twitching and being weird the entire time, and you're like, I don't think that is the one for me.
But she had like a really good ex-boyfriend, Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
this guy go out with her.
No, it felt good. It was a very, very good day. I mean, I feel like Salah's press conference too was pretty hype. Like all gas, no break. We were all fired up, and then didn't work. But Aaron Glenn feels different, man. I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah. I think one thing that I saw that someone said a good point was it seems like he cares, and I feel like to turn an organization around, you kind of really have to care about. And I know like some people are going to say, oh, they're the head coach of the organization. Of course they care. But it seems like Aaron Glenn genuinely wants to turn the ship around and be a successful organization.
Yeah, it's like an authentic version of Rex.
Yeah.
Rex was authentic at the time. Now he's just trying to get a job, being ridiculous.
They should bring him on as like a defensive assistant just for shits and giggles. See how that goes over.
They should make him the manager of the equipment manager of the shoes. And he'll be so happy.
All right. So with that being said, I think we're going to roll into this mock draft here. We got a little bit of a looser type of feel for this episode as like the other ones. I did one with Matt O'Leary, and I tried to joke, and he was like, "On to the next pick." But
I love O'Leary. I love O'Leary.
He's like, we need to pick our second round pick.
yeah, he's the man. He was awesome, but I was like, all right, I don't think I could joke around with this guy as much as others.
He's like 7'2".
He's like,
is he really that tall?
No, but he's like, there's a picture of Boy Green, Jake Assman, and Matt O'Leary, and it's like raising the bar. It's just like Matt O'Leary just towers over him.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah, I think what was that like last year? That picture was going around Twitter.
Maybe the draft. That's what I think it was. Ironically, as we are mocking.
As we are drafting right now, and the first pick is up. Matt, I believe you have the first pick here.
Matt gets for fuck you, Matt.
Well, who went 1, 2, 3, 4? Because I think
who was born first. Oh, you were born first. That means I should get
Peter or Mike. We'll do it together. You can do it. But I tweeted out that no matter what, I think Cam Ward, Shador, and Travis Hunter will go in the top 3, at a minimum top 7. Yeah. Then you have Ted, Will Johnson, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. Those 4 guys one of them, God willing, automatically will be a Jet if they go that route. And followed suit here, where Ted goes 4, Will Johnson 5, and Abdul Carter 6. So Mike, you can make the pick here. I think we're going to be aligned.
We're going to be in the same pick. This is exactly how I'd want the board to fall, and then we take Mason Graham. I think the 2, we've talked about this on our show, Peter, Matt, and I, that the 2 biggest issues with the Jets last year, the 3 biggest probably issues were toughness and ruggedness specifically in terms of the run defense and tackling,
100%,
discipline and situational awareness. So you're hoping that Aaron Glenn could come in and kind of turn the page on those 3 issues, and putting a monstrous psychopath next to Quinn Williams inside. That's a nice start.
That's a great start. I was kind of hoping. I got lucky. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Abdul Carter fell to 7, and I've never hit a button faster in my life. I think, honestly, genuinely speaking, I think maybe outside of Travis Hunter, just because of how awesome he is on both sides of the ball, I think Abdul Carter is probably the best player overall in the entire class. But Mason Graham is if that would be my 1A pick, but 1B is definitely Mason Graham because it's also more realistic, and he's an absolute monster in the middle. I love that pick. So did you guys make that pick collectively, or is that what's going on for round 2 here? What are we doing? Who's making this pick now?
I guess the other one that's interesting round 1 is the offensive tackle, where if you wanted to go, because obviously Abdul Carter is, you have a little bit of a logjam at edge rusher. If you take him, you have Jermaine and Will McDonald, but if he's Parsons Jr., who cares? You could, you take him wherever you can. But
Yeah,
depends what they do at right tackle too. So that Will Campbell would have been interesting to me. Now you gotta take a look. The Jets need to fill some holes here.
Yeah, and if you look at the top, what just happened, right? You could get Ted McMillan if Devontae Adams and Rodgers bail, right? You can't have Xavier Gibson get like 120 targets, right? You could go Will Johnson. That DJ Reed is going to be gone. You could go Abdul Carter because then you have Jermaine coming off an ACL, Will McDonald McDonald, and then you have Carter. That's like your edge, like you're perfect. So I'm happy they got Mason Graham because played against the Big Ten, true difference maker. And it's not like if I was 13 years old, I'd be like draft a quarterback. When you're like an adult, you're like you need to get better in the trenches and take the Jets offense. I would keep every player on the offense, and I know it's an unpopular take. I don't think they can be as bad. Individually, I think they all played fine. They just couldn't put it together in the fourth quarter, and they weren't great. And I know the defense, if they had a Mason Graham and one or two other guys, the Jets probably win 3 more games at a minimum. So I'm very happy with the Mason Graham pick.
Yeah, and the way the Jets were moving the ball at the end of the year, especially how Rodgers was moving around specifically, gives me confidence going into next year. Plus, the Jets' offensive line is flat out good. Yeah, you're going to have to figure out right tackle. So I agree with Matt where if you ran it with Garrett, Devontae, Brees, you could have Conklin or another cheap tight end. That offensive line, Rodgers, and you plug up that middle. What do we take in the second round?
Well, Peter, where did Tyler Warren go in the first round? I'm very curious about that because that's a trade down potential move. I don't think Aaron Glenn would move off. He went.
Yeah, this happens a lot in this simulator for some reason. That the Arizona Cardinals more often than not take Tyler Warren. I really couldn't explain to you why, but
they just want Trey McBride to never score a touchdown.
Yeah, I guess, right? He's going to have 100 catches for like 1,100 yards and 0 touchdowns every single year.
Yeah,
but yeah, that happens quite a bit. And I think Loveland went at 26. That's another popular pick there. But at 42, I feel like this is a very interesting spot. Obviously, we have Mason Graham, so you took care of arguably the biggest need for the Jets, assuming that maybe Aaron Rodgers comes back or they somehow figure out the quarterback situation another way. Usually in this spot here, I like to look. I do like to look at the offensive line a little bit, and then I also like to look at the DBs. I like to look at Cam Williams here. Really, really interests me, and Irsay as well. Trapilo came in today at the. I don't know if you saw the stats at the Senior Bowl, like 6'7", like 320 something pounds, but I don't know if that's going to be more of a right tackle. For me, Cam Williams he didn't play great towards down the stretch for Texas, but Cam Williams is someone that has the intangibles, has the size 6'5", 335 pounds. I think based off of raw ability, talent, and pedigree with the SEC now, I think he's probably overall the best right tackle prospect in the class, projecting with his overall talent. I think if this is my pick, I think I'm going to make it.
No, I think you have to. And it's funny, Cam Scadaboo went 41 to the Bears, but Cam Williams is cool because obviously Kelvin Baines gets most of the talk as being the tackle from Texas. Cam Williams, a lot of people thought he would return for a year and maybe be a top 15 pick. So I love the upside. You take him there. I think it's a no doubt pick. I didn't even think he was gonna be available.
That's why I got very surprised there for a second. I was like, oh, he's usually never here. That's why.
Well, and to your guys' points, the biggest needs the Jets had at that point, or even if you bring back a Morgan Moses, I think we're all kind of done with the Max Mitchell, Carter Warren. Maybe you have another year for Carter Warren to try to develop into something, but it's very scary when those guys come into the game. So even if you bring back a Moses, it'd be nice to have that second round swing tackle. If the guy, if Cam Williams plays great, you could always use Moses in that role. Wow.
Yeah. Jeffrey
I would love to get
Bezos.
to get an offensive line coach that actually develops players. That would be great. But
is that Jeffrey Bezos?
That's what someone like Cam Williams needs. He's got all the raw potential, ability, strength, size, you name it, agility. He just kind of couldn't really put it together towards the end of the year, but you're going up against cream of the crop competition every single week. You're going to have a bad week, So I'm willing to look past that for the intangibles. And I think as long as you get some kind of development, I think he's going to be a fantastic right tackle at the next level.
I'm all in.
All right, it's up to you guys here, number 92.
Matt, what do you think? Maybe we got to get some secondary help.
Yeah, let's scroll down a little bit. I think it's pretty cool. Like, I can't evaluate running backs because Quinshon Judkins, I'd be like, why is he different than any other?
Yeah, but dude, good spin move, college football. Quinshon Judkins! And then we'll get more Gus, what's his face, to announce our games.
Let's see, we got some decent secondary help.
So like we talked about, so DJ Reed, I'm assuming, is gone.
Yeah.
And then you have Eccles is also a free agent, so you got to bring him back. Then you have Quantez Stiggers tweeting out that he is going to be cornerback 2, which is cool. He tweeted out it was like one off season from being a starting NFL corner.
Yeah,
with like the little time fucking whatever the thing. But the Jets also have no safeties. You have no safeties. You have Ashton Davis under contract, and then I guess you have Tony Adams. If Woody Johnson doesn't kill him or bench him for no reason.
The only name I know here is Denzel Burks, being a DBU, right, coming from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Well, do we want a safety or do we want a corner?
I couldn't tell you.
The way that I think about it is with Aaron Glenn, you're looking at a guy that plays the most man coverage in the NFL, aggressive man coverage, heavy blitz. I mean, our corners are really used to more zone than anything. It's going to be a tough transition. I think through free agency, I think the Jets actually have to prioritize cornerback, maybe even overpay. I know it's tough with the money that they have. Maybe overpay for someone like Carlton Davis, someone that has a significant amount of man experience in an Aaron Glenn defensive system. I think you kind of have to go safety here, though. Like what Mike said, we have no safeties really on at all. I think Ashton Davis, I believe, is a free agent. Tony Adams is a restricted free agent at the most. So you really, really don't have anything at the safety position right now.
The other thing, Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the Lions had great safeties, and they prioritized that. So,
I think safety is the play here. You also look at Aaron Glenn. You have Sauce Gardner as your lockdown number 1, down year, but still a career year.
Yeah.
For a lot of corners in the NFL. And then if you re-sign a guy like Eccles, who probably wants to stay in New York, his life is already here. I would argue that Aaron Glenn could say, take a veteran free agent, not expensive, and I can take Stiggers or Brent Eccles and make them a cornerback too. I am good enough as a coach to build these guys up and then take a safety on day 2. So I couldn't tell you, Peter, the difference between the top 3 guys here, but I would take a safety.
Hey, Matt, to your point on Sauce, it's like some girl has like 1 million Instagram followers. She gets, she's used to getting like 30,000 likes a pop. She gets, 15,000 likes on her third post. That's a career post for some people, So
it's a fantastic analogy right there. But
we have to think about quarterback too.
I was thinking about flirting with quarterback. It's like, if we go to quarterback, who's there right now?
Listen, I've watched the most of these guys. I've watched Will Howard and McCord, and they're both pretty impressive. Yeah,
Will Howard really showed throughout the college football playoffs that he could actually make some of those touch passes, the tight window throws. Like, I was actually legitimately impressed with Will Howard, and he's also 6'5", 245 pounds too. So that helps.
I like the idea of getting Kyle McCord, and you can call him and Aaron Glenn Kylo Glenn, and have them be like the pairing. You know what I'm saying? You could use that as a. All right, well, let's go safety, and then maybe a quarterback will be there.
Kyle McCord played in the same conference as Cam Ward and had better stats than him, and they're both super impressive, or whatever, the same numbers. He led the league in passing yards per game. That's an interesting guy to me. That if you plugged him into a real NFL offense, he probably is serviceable.
I'm a big fan of Andrew Makuba, so if there's any objections,
I don't even know who that is. So
him and Cam Williams are in a room together in Hoboken or wherever in Morristown. They're both Texas guys. We'll bring them both in.
Let's do it. I mean, I know, it's funny. A lot of my drafts wind up being like Longhorn heavy. And
Okay.
I don't, everyone's like, oh, this guy must be a Texas Longhorns fan. And I'm like, I'm really not. It's just this year they happen to have a lot of really good players coming out. So, all right. So you want to take a look at quarterback with this pick?
Well, look at the tight end from Notre Dame. That's interesting.
Yeah, Mitchell Evans is there.
Wow. Mitchie E. But this is probably the time you take a quarterback.
I would think so. Especially the way that McCord impressed at the end of the season. And then you look at his measurables, and he's probably going to dominate the pre-draft process. He's going to impress. I would say that he's probably a late day 2, early day 3 guy now. So this would probably be a realistic place to take him at this point.
I love it. There's rumors about it. I value very highly in a quarterback poise and accuracy, and it seems like he's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
How many people are going to reply and be like, you have Jordan Travis, he's the future, you can't draft a quarterback? And I like Jordan Travis. I tweeted out in January that the Jets are going to take Jordan Travis in the third or in the on day 3, and they did. I was very happy. But if you can't practice, you can't be on the field for a full year, a new owner, a new GM and head coach are going to bring in their own guy and build around the system. Now, one note, Nick Caley, the potential offensive coordinator for the Jets, just interviewed with Tampa Bay. So interesting.
Did you hear the quote about Nick Caley?
No.
It was awesome. It's like, it said, when you have when you're done talking with Nick Caley, it feels like you just had a conversation with Sean McVay.
That's exciting.
I like Kyle McCord here. I also love Quinn Ewers because I love betting.
Let's just
on
keep
Texas.
the Texas thing going.
We can't take 3.
Yeah.
I like Kyle McCord. I think that'll be good. You'll get the North, like the New Yorkers up north will love this mock draft when you tweeted out that they got Kyle McCord. I'm in.
They were probably all Bills fans. I saw Mitchell Evans go.
This is a nice looking draft so far. I'm not going to lie, boys. I like this. I think, what are we at? Pick number 145. I think it's time to look at maybe a wide receiver or tight end here.
Well, so tight end's a clear need.
Yeah.
Clear need.
You have Jeremy Rucker, Mike. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No,
Kenny
please,
Yeboah.
no.
They should throw Kenny Yeboah Hail Mary again. Is that him in the preseason?
Wow.
It was Kenny Yeboah?
Yeah.
I played NCAA Luke Leachy. He's like a 90 overall.
I was going to say, this is maybe, honestly, I know that like nitpicking here, maybe 145 is too rich for that. I was thinking maybe 158 or 186 if he was still there. There's a couple guys that interest
Look like a
me.
wide receiver. Maybe
Okay.
that's the play here.
But do we really need? I guess they don't. If you're bringing back Roger Dunn, you definitely need wide receiver depth.
I'm a big fan of 2 guys here. I like Juice Wells and I like Ricky White here too.
I mean, they got Juice. Those are 2 terrific names.
Yeah, that's very true.
I forgot we
matters.
drafted Malachi Corley. In my head, I'm like, we don't have.
Oh fuck, we have Malachi Corley.
I literally forgot we had him.
Oh boy.
What happened to Jason Brownlee? Is he all right?
He's on the Eagles, I think.
Yeah.
Jason Brownlee's on the Eagles.
He's about to win a ring.
Holy shit, he's a huge contributor.
But
Go with your gut, Peter. I trust you.
Do we need a receiver? At some point we need to take a linebacker also.
yes,
But
very
I'm
true.
happy to snag
We
one
do
of
have a pick in 13 picks, so maybe we could readdress tight end or linebacker there. I feel like with the talent on the board at wide receiver,
Let's take one of those 2 guys.
yeah, I'm going to take Juice. I mean, they both been impressing quite a bit. I believe Juice Wells was at the Shrine Bowl, the same thing at Ricky White, and they were both very impressive. I'm going to take Wells for the size, though. White is more of like a gadget type of player, kind of like what Malachi Corley should be, where, he makes things happen after the catch or when you put the ball in his hands in open space. Juice Wells is more of a boundary guy, and I think that's kind of, if Devontae Adams is gone, I think that's what the Jets need, and I'm leaning more towards he'll probably be gone, but I'll take Juice Wells here.
Or he can learn behind him. You need
that too.
5 or 6 wide receivers in your team, and I think it's perfectly fine. My toxic trait is that I think that the Jets are going to draft these 5 guys. Like, I don't know why I'm manifesting it.
I'd be very excited if this was the first 5.
They may draft like one guy from these conferences when the draft ends up happening, but I actually think we're going to go 5 for 5.
Name one NFL player nicknamed Juice who had any issues. All right, what do we got? Tight end.
It's the third.
Let's take a look at linebacker. We haven't looked at
Dude, Jay Higgins, 95 overall, college football.
Jay Higgins is a good one.
Actually, no, he's not. It's the other guy. Who's the other guy on?
I don't think I think he's an underclassman who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, because this guy is not a 95.
Let's see.
It was
here.
Luke
No, I'm
Van
not
Ness
really-
went back to college for 2 years.
I'll be
Let's
honest
go
with you, I'm not
Packers.
really a fan of this. Let's go take a look at the tight ends. It's not really scratching where I'm itching right now.
Luke,
I think we got to do it for Mike.
Come on.
do it.
I'm an Iowa guy.
All right, we got to do it. But any of these guys are a really good pick. Lakey is probably the best one, or Hawes. But we're going to appease Mike. We're going to take Lakey here.
Thank you guys.
Now we need to go linebacker, maybe corner if you love a corner here, right?
Yeah, let's take a look at the linebacker I wasn't too inspired with. Let's take a look at the corners. A couple Longer Beam, another great name, by the way.
Oh my god.
Had a really, really strong showing at the Shrine game. Really strong.
There's another Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant's an absolute pencil. I think he came in at like 169 pounds.
Him and Sauce can combine to be one normal man.
Kobe sauce.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So skinny. So I hope Sauce bulks up a little bit.
I mean, Robert Longerbeam, you got a 45-minute drive from where he's at now.
He's probably partying
It's-
with my
it's
little
not
sister
bad.
right now.
I honestly think, okay. I'll make a suggestion here.
Yeah.
Jabbar Muhammad's on the board. I think that should be the
Most
pick.
common name in the world.
Do it. I'm down.
Yeah. That's going to be the pick that I'm going to make.
Peter, can you go to kicker for a moment?
Yeah, we could. I mean, for the vibes, we could take Shiloh Sanders, but
Wow.
I don't
take
think
I
another-
think we
Yeah.
could take an actual linebacker or a kicker.
You can't take an Alabama safety as your final pick, like we took with Jalen Key, and then he got cut.
It's a huge pick.
uh,
Unless if we don't like anyone here, we could take a kicker.
I kind of like the kicker idea. I'm not going to lie.
It'll
it.
play well in the graphic, as Matt would say.
What?
It'll
Let's
play
see.
well in the graphic.
What are you guys feeling here?
I have no preference. I don't know anything about these people.
I think the fact that we see an ADP of Borogalis at 123 means that we should probably take him because that's
I like
right?
it.
incredibly high for a kicker.
I like it.
He must
Do
be
it.
sick.
It's actually really good. It's a toss up between Ryan Fitzgerald and him, but we'll take.
We already had
Borogalis.
enough Ryan Fitz here.
We have a friend who's a Miami fan. I give him a quick call and get his point of view.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the grades for this draft.
This has got to be a good graph. What else could we do? Come on,
True.
PFF.
Yeah, PFF is brutal when it comes to the grades. They really humble you.
Yeah, A plus.
Oh, there's a lot of D's here.
Good. Fuck them. Every
like a
draft
quick
we
plug.
leave and we're like, the Jets got an A plus, and we just never convert. Who did Matt
I'm not gonna
O'Leary
lie.
take in the first
And
round?
it's probably not because of you guys. This is easily my worst graded draft of the season so far. Not because of you guys. It's just PFF doesn't know how to grade. That's what
PFF
I'm
just
gonna say.
starts off like taking 2-letter grades off if you are drafting as the Jets.